Hi, so thanks. It's lovely to be here. I'm Sheila Ross, and I'm one of the co-founders of the Feeling Good app Teens, and also Feeling Good for Schools project. I myself am a health psychologist and a psychotherapist. I'm here today to talk to you about Feeling Good for Schools, which was developed with our sister charity, the Foundation for Positive Mental Health, and supported with funding by Nesta. However, this schools program is based on our long history and experience of working in the NHS. We started off working in the NHS over 15 years ago, and Alistair Dobbin was the other founder, was a GP looking for tools to help his depressed and anxious patients. So he happened to meet a Swedish Olympic sports psychologist who was talking about his athletes and saying, hey, they're doing better in their sports, but they're also doing better in their home life and in their work. So we then thought, well, let's make this into and adapt it for the NHS. And we created what's called positive mental training, which is a new way of looking. And we started off with CDs, which are now an app. So that's where we've come from. Now, this is based on sport, and rather than me trying to explain it to you, I've got a 3-minute animation which explains our theory of change, which is why this program works.
Olympic athletes are very good at bouncing back and feeling good after losing a race. So what can we learn from them to help us in our own lives to overcome stress and depression? We know that one of the main influences on our mood in any situation is a related memory. We also know that distressing memories can upset our mood and concentration. To protect us from this, sometimes our brains put up a firewall. But here's the thing. Although the intention is good, the outcome may not be helpful, as over time, many environmental cues, acting out with our conscious awareness, will link us to the firewalled memory, so we get the feeling but not the memory. This activates the control center of our right brain fight-or-flight sympathetic nervous system. Our body responds with racing heart and tense muscles, telling our brain something is wrong, but not what it is. The brain in turn tells the body to be alert for danger. We become wary and withdrawn, and bingo, we're trapped in a vicious cycle. We feel bad without knowing why. The good news is that we can use the body to break this vicious cycle, using relaxation techniques and slowing the breathing. This activates our left brain relax and relate parasympathetic system, which automatically switches off our fight or flight system. This body switch results in a positive mindset, where it's easier to find positive memories and create positive visualizations. This mindset also acts as a safety net, allowing us to change the disabling effect of distressing memories. You see, every distressing memory activates a network of related memories, and the first 3 of these are key to our resilience. How we react comes down to simple mathematics. If 2 of them are negative, then the distressing memory is firewalled. If 2 of these 3 are positive, then the network acts as a coping resource, and the memory will not need firewalled. Our research has shown that with a simple audio track, it's possible to change one negative network memory to become positive. This can allow us to safely remove the firewall, come to terms with the distressing memory, and move on. We think that Olympic athletes naturally link to positive coping memories. This is how they bounce back from defeat. This is the nub of resilience. We have worked in the NHS with anxious and depressed people and have observed their recovery when using the body switch combined with positive future visualizations of self. But all of us, including anxious and depressed people, can practice and develop this ability. By working with the body and the mind, we can embrace the possibility of change and growth and become champions in our own lives. We have called this positive mental training.
So the adult app, we found that over the years that it gives good results. Patients report 70 reductions in depression and anxiety, 75% reporting this at 2 weeks. We know also it boosts resilience and well-being because it works on the other side of the mental health continuum. And that's where it fits into sport. It's all about peak performance. And resilience, of course, is underpinned by positive affect. It's super easy to use, particularly because it's audio. It's audio programs, no reading, you don't need to concentrate, just need to plug and play and listen. Really good for digital inclusion because you can listen offline. You need to be online to listen once and then it's downloaded onto your app, onto your phone. So that makes it super easy and inclusive to engage with as well. So that was the adult app, and you can see that this in Feeling Good for Life, this is the audio program that actually is like with the CDs, and how it starts off with relaxation is modular. So it starts off with body relaxation, Jackson relaxation, then a mindful body scan, and then visualization, and that's building up this core. And it counts this little leaf at the side here. That's counting 5 times because it's a skills-based program. So by repeated listening, you're learning the skills. Now, some people do it much more than 5 times. Other people, we'd recommend a minimum of about 3 or 4 times. But that's counting 5 as sort of average. And that lets them do that, lets them track where they're going. And then the later tracks build up things like confidence, self-esteem. So we started off in primary care. We started off with adults. NHS staff used it for themselves. Some used it for their children. That was fine. We used it for our own children. And people kept saying, you need to go younger. So then we started working with universities and colleges, with students and staff. And people said, no, go younger. So then we decided, okay, let's adapt this for schools. Now, as I said at the beginning, this program comes from Sweden. And Sweden used this program in schools. They have some schools, Jensen schools in Sweden, that start every morning off with listening to an audio track from their mental training. So we decided to target transition years because that's a very vulnerable transition and period for young people. And adapting the same model that we used in the NHS, we wanted to work with teachers in their school, supporting their school environment. So what we did is we decided we wanted them to have daily audios in the same way that people will listen at home. Now, we could have had the kids listening at home, but we can't control their home environment. We don't know whether have they got anything to listen on? Do they get the peace and quiet? Have they got a bedroom of their own or something? So let's have it in school because this is a whole class approach. We wanted everyone to have this opportunity, not just the children who've been identified. We all need mental health skills, and we felt this is very core. And if you don't need them now, you're going to need them later on. So it's sort of very preventative, but also because we know from our NHS work, it's also going to help the kids who have a greater need as well. So we had the daily listening, and this was over 6 weeks. We started off with 9 weeks. That was too long, so we moved it down to 6 weeks. And we also developed the tracks from the adult app. We chose several of them. We adapted the language. We made them much, much shorter, and with a younger voice. So that's what's in Feeling Good Teens, and that's a standalone app which is completely anonymous, and it's on the internet, in the App Store. But we had those played in school as well. We also supported that with weekly class sessions. So these were themes like understanding emotions, breathing. There was sort of a relaxation session where they would learn about deep belly breathing. There's also visualization skills. There's teaching transferable skills. So some of the kids would say, when they came to getting the COVID jab, they said, well, I used the skills I learned in the classroom because I was nervous about it. Lots of goal visualization. The fact it comes from sports makes it super popular with the kids. Things like friendship, conflict. So this is a 1 hour a week over 6 weeks on each of these topics, which related to the themes in the audios. And then to support that even further, we had teacher training. So that's the sort of core of the program. And then just like in the adult app, we have the little leaves. Here in the teens, we've got the stars that are filled up for progress so they can count it. And then we got responding to children's feedback, because this was evaluated independently by Impact Head over 2 academic years. And some of the children said, oh, let's put in some tracks for sleep and some longer tracks. So we put those in there too. And we know because of Impact Ed's work that it works. We found that pupils in the program were more able to maintain their resilience, and this resilience was measured through the HOPE scale, the children's HOPE scale, compared to the control school. So we were pleased to see that. And then we also, the second year, we found out that it was the children who had the lowest scores of resilience and well-being that actually increased significantly compared to those at the top. So that's really interesting, because I've long thought that actually positive affect has probably got a ceiling effect. And so this is targeting those who have got a much lower effect, lower levels, and boosting them up to those of the people with higher resilience and well-being. And then the pupils themselves would say things like, oh, I feel more calm, more relaxed, I'm less stressed, I've got better concentration and more confidence. A great suite of benefits, pleased to see that. So moving on, the schools program is still active, and we're always looking to produce it. It's challenging, I won't lie, it's difficult for schools to find time to do the audios. So we're looking at maybe slightly different models, with maybe looking at small groups, maybe taken out by their counsellor, or looking at embedding it into the audios more within their health and social lessons. But also the other thing, because we are newly on working with IAPTAs, which is super, so we're moved on the IAP framework, we have the opportunity to add the Teens app into our adult one, and then we can have interoperability of the Teens app for youth services through CAMS, which would be great. So finally, thank you, we've got the stand, come and talk to us. I'm just going to finish, I've got a very short 2-minute video of our schools worker, just giving you an overview of the schools programme.
Recent inquiries into young people's mental health have found that academic achievement is being prioritised at the expense of well-being. Support the development of your pupils' mental health whilst finding benefits for your own, with Feeling Good for Schools. We can take care of our mental health just as we do our physical health with positive mental training. Feeling Good for Schools is a fully resourced and supported wellbeing programme for the transition years. It supports destigmatisation of mental health and the development of a positive mindset. Integral to the programme is the daily, whole-class listening to the Feeling Good Teens audio tracks over 6 weeks, supported with weekly lessons planned by us and delivered by you. The audio tracks are adapted from the evidence-led NHS endorsed Feeling Good adult programme to suit a school context. Underpinning the tracks are guided relaxation and positive visualisation exercises, which stem from Olympic sports training. Pupils develop resilience by making daily listening a habit like brushing your teeth, even when it feels challenging, because learning new skills takes practice. But much like riding a bike, once you've learnt them for life. We also offer the Feeling Good Adult app for free, supporting your wellbeing needs whilst you support your pupils. In schools that delivered our programme last year, young people felt that it gave them time out of academic study, a moment of calm where they could close their eyes, relax and breathe. Teachers told us, I did it with my 2nd and 3rd years. They've actually asked to do it again. It was a nice way to focus them and calm them down. I did feel that there was just a kind of feeling of calmness there, which was quite nice and not a feeling I feel often in class. I think a lot of pupils find it difficult to regulate their emotions, and the audios allow them to centre themselves and focus solely on themselves, to be calm. Pupils said, it helped me in class. I felt focused and ready to go on with the day. It was relaxing and something that you kind of look forward to for the start of the week before going to a period of learning. You get a wee bit of time. I use the audios when I'm stressed out because it calms me down and I can give myself a small rest. Research revealed teachers similarly felt the beneficial impact of the programme, especially with regards to increased feelings of calm. So if you're ready to feel good, get in touch with us now.